Have you ever gotten to the point where you're feeling you're kind of burned out from all the stuff that you're doing in media ministry? In this video, I want to share with you my personal feelings about ministry burnout and what I do to help myself when I'm in those type of moments. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. If this is your first time stopping by the channel, thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So this is obviously a little bit different. We're not talking about tech, computers, cameras, or anything like that. We're talking about the individual. And on the For Me Media group, I had someone post a question to me about talking about how do you deal with ministry burnout. And I just want to have like a little talk with y'all and just tell you my personal experience with media, well not media, but ministry burnout. I've been in ministry since 13, starting in music, and now in the last about 10 years it's been media. And burnout is a real thing. I think for me, there were three things that in hindsight I realized that got me to the point of ministry burnout. And that was frustration, working too hard, and forgetting my purpose. From a frustration standpoint, one of my favorite definitions of frustration is trying to control something that we were never intended to, nor had the ability to change. Frustration is trying to put this round peg through a square hole, stuff like that, of just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to the level of like just anger or just intolerance, or I don't even know the word for it. It's like, I think I had so many times in ministry where I had this vision that I wanted to be at for the choir, for our music ministry, for our media ministry, for our church, and I would push, and it was so frustrating because I'm like, why are the people not at this point? Like we're so stuck. How come people can't see this? And I really realized that frustration is I was trying to control people. I was trying to control situations where it really wasn't my place to control. I really had to get to the point where the only thing that I can control was me. And I needed to be comfortable with the fact that if I gave my best, I gave 100% in this situation and it didn't work out, I had to be comfortable with that, because the sowing of seeds is my responsibility. The harvest that comes out of that is not necessarily my responsibility. It's like, hey, you can plant an apple seed outside, but there's nothing in your power outside of taking care of it that could make it blossom into what its end result. I mean, I'm sitting here, I guess, to use that analogy, I'm trying to, no, this branch needs to curve this way. No, you need to curve that way. No, I need this many apples on this branch. I need this many apples. That's something that you can't control. And trying to control things that you are not meant to control is the 100% guaranteed way to be frustrated. There's some things you just can't change on your own. Our role, a lot of times the roles and what we do is not meant for us to make everything work out perfectly. It's sometimes you need to just be there to do, be an influence a lot of times. Like, hey, I know here at my church, I tried to influence a whole lot of things and it didn't turn out that way I wanted to. Like, I had one person, and I think he's been in a couple of videos before. One of the kids at the church, I really was working to try and teach him and trying to groom him to be a musician. And it was frustrating because I wanted to teach and empower somebody else with what I'm doing, because I don't want to be a 90-year-old piano player at church. I want to share whatever I have and pass it down to somebody else. And it didn't work out. But the interesting thing about that is that same kid is now older, and he's following my footsteps, not in music, but in media. He has the same background as me. He went to school, did the same thing. So my frustration was misplaced, not realizing that I planted a seed early on, but it developed into something completely different outside of my control, but it's still beneficial. To where now he is able to do the same stuff that I do in the media ministry, and that has removed so much stress for me that there's somebody who's can do the same things that I do, which is really cool. But I mean, if I was so focused on this is how I need it to be done exactly this way, I removed the faith element out of it, and I'm sitting here now trying to control the entire thing. And I think that was one of my main issues with frustration, is trying to control something that I was never meant to control. And when you stay in that mode for so long, you sit back and say, I have a vision of what I want my ministry to be, or I want this situation to be, and then you just get burned out because it's like it just does not work, because it's not meant to work that way. It's meant to work a completely different way. But if you are so focused on this is all I'm going to accept, you will get frustrated, because your way is not the only way for things to work out. And I think the other thing was I was just working too hard. I was putting way too much stuff on my plate that was not reasonable for one person to do. When you are forging a new way, like which with our media ministry is completely transformed from what it used to be, just off of so many things that we offer now, in ways to reach the community, to serve our church, that we didn't have anybody doing that. And I kind of forged that path, and I was out there by myself. But it got to the point where, as much as I love helping people, that's why I did IT tech support for so long, because I like helping people. It got to a point that I could not give my best to other people because I had too much on my plate. It's like we're not meant to do everything ourselves, and then sometimes you have to slow down before you can go faster. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was sitting here, I was helping music ministries here, I was helping this church here, I was helping these people in our church, I was helping this, I was doing IT here, I was running cables here, I was reorganizing this, I was training this. I loved helping people, but it got to the point where I had so much that I couldn't give my best to everybody, and the work that I was doing, it started suffering because I was doing too much. And that wore on me, because the expectations that I had set for myself were way too high, and it just wore me out. So the ministry, the burnout came because of my own unrealistic expectations that I placed on me, as well as the ministry that I was in. And then honestly, not even trying to be super spiritual about the whole thing, is my other frustration came in, the other thing that led me to a point where I just felt overwhelmed in ministry was I honestly forgot why I was doing this. I forgot the purpose behind what I was doing. Like, I'm not doing this just so we're the best media ministry in town, that we have the best, sharpest, crispiest, most high-tech tech of any church in our surrounding area. No, it was remembering that why we do this is to redirect everybody to the Great Commission. That's what all of this is for. It's going back to that, to let people know about Jesus, about the message of God, about whatever where our main focus is. That's what the primary is. And when I forgot about that, that made it very easy to get frustrated. That made it very easy to start tacking on so much other stuff, being busy, that I really wasn't accomplishing anything for the ministry as a whole. And then it just, I mean, it was for me, and I just really forgot why I was doing this. I instead of trying to, I went from focus on just achieving, checking off items on the list. And, you know, the frustration was like, at this point in time, I needed to have 2, 3, 5 items checked off, instead of realizing who cares how many items that you have checked off. Is ministry moving forward? Is the body of Christ moving forward? Is God's task being accomplished in whatever capacity it is? I forgot about that. And that was what the 3 things that I noticed that caused my burnout. And then the solution to those, I gave you 3 things and that caused burnout. And these are the 3 things that I did. And it sounds silly. I'm 41. So, but even still, what calms me is going to a local store, buying a big pack of Legos and shutting my brain off and just building. I guess it's kind of like Tony Stark. He's a builder. That's what he does to relax. That was kind of me. Whatever that is for you, what I needed to do is remind myself of putting myself back in a place some people call your secret closet or whatever. Get to a place where I can be alone and reevaluate why I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing. A moment of clarity. I love cruises. I normally used to go on a cruise once a year, and I would go on a cruise ship, take the battery out of my phone after I told everybody I made it there safe, set my phone and battery completely separated, unplugged from all forms of technology, and sometimes I wouldn't even come out of my room for a 3-day cruise. I just ordered room service, sat on the balcony, prayed, thought, cleared my mind, just removed anything that I was doing and just shut down and really reset, hit the reset button on myself to ask myself, what am I doing that's making me so frustrated? Like, why, remembering why I'm doing what I'm doing. Finding out, like, hey, AJ, you putting too much on your plate. Like, getting a moment to unwind so that I can take all that stuff off, so that I can look at it from a different perspective. I really think, especially those who are in ministry, you need to decompress. You need to get away sometimes. I mean, it got to a point last year that it was so much going on in our media ministry that I literally just signed out for an entire month. I had way too much stuff. Too much stuff was put on me from people, what I put on myself, the expectations, frustration. All 3 of those things built up so much, forgetting the purpose of why I'm doing it. It got so bad that I literally had to I left my church for an entire month. I didn't do any media. I didn't do any videos. I didn't do anything. I just stepped away. And it gave me a time to reflect back on those 3 things of, am I trying to control something that I'm not meant to control? Have I placed too much on my plate that I really need to delegate to somebody else? I don't need to do everything myself. And then am I also forgetting what the purpose of what I'm doing is for? So again, this is completely different than any other video that I normally do, but I just wanted to talk about that. ministry burnout is real. I felt it, and what I've done now is those three things. Am I trying to control something that I'm not meant to control? Am I working too hard? Do I have too much stuff on my plate? And have I forgotten my purpose? I ask myself those things pretty much every day now, so that the frustration, those levels don't get so high to where I do experience a burnout. So hopefully that will help somebody, of just me just telling you about how I deal with some of this stuff, and I continue to deal with it, because this isn't something that you just master and then you never experience it again. In this field, that any one of those things can creep up very fast, and you can get overwhelmed. And again, I know we talk about modernizing your media ministry, but media ministry is powered by people, and you need to take care of yourself so that you don't stress yourself out, and you don't wear out. You know, we want each one of us to be here as long as we possibly can, and not to worry ourselves out into an early grave when we don't need to. So take care of your tech, but more importantly, take care of yourself. So anyway, I hope that helps. And just to let you know, if you ever feel in those moments where you need somebody to talk to, that's what our For Me Media group is for. It's not just about tech, it's about us building up each other in our media ministries, which are powered by people. So I hope to try and do some more stuff like this to help out with the person and the individual, not just the tech as well, because we all need encouragement. And just let you know that you are not in this battle by yourself. We're always here. So if there's any way I can help, I would do the best that I possibly can to help. I am only one person, but I can help as much as I possibly can. If there's any other things that you do that you do to help yourself when you're in ministry burnout mode, please leave them in the comments. I'm sure other people would like to know. Me personally, I'd like to know if there might be other things that I can try as well too. So anyway, if you like this type of content, I would appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry and to help the individual as well. So this is AJ. We will see you on the next video. Later.